Morning, Suncoast. Crucifix in my left hand. I've been drowned and now, oh my old man, cleansed from my wide eyes, eternity by the shoreside. I've been thinking from the finite, when the finer things in life are with you. Grinning like a child, soaking in the sun, running in circles like I'm happy and young. Awestruck revival, ain't no youthful life's free. If your soul is on fire, don't doubt it will stay. You are inspiring, you're feeling unknown, and I'm starstruck because your pockets are full of the dust that we come from. I've been searching for some sunlight in the middle of the summertime. I've been thinking from the finite, with the finer things in life are with you. Grinning like a child, soaking in the sun, running in circles like I'm happy and young. Awestruck revival, ain't no youthful high spray. If your soul is on fire, don't doubt it will stay. How's everybody doing this morning? Yeah. Of falling asleep while singing in a love to a progressive beat. For the promised land, standing on the beach, my friends and my foes in the sand at my feet. I've been dreaming of falling asleep while singing in a love to a progressive beat. I can't wait for the promised land, standing on the beach with my friends and my foes in the sand at my feet. I've been dreaming of falling asleep while singing in a love to a progressive beat. Wait for the promised land, standing on the beach with my friends and my foes in the sand at my feet. Grinning like a child, awestruck revival, ain't no youthful life's free. If your soul is on fire, don't doubt it will stay. Awestruck revival, if your soul is on fire, don't doubt it will stay. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Suncoast. There is a fountain in a haze of light, flooded with goodness, rushing with words of life, healing you to the bone. They're sweet to my soul, and I'm swept away. Would you join me in singing this? I am good. Say I'm good, I am worthy, wanted, loved by you. This is living, breathing proof that I am chosen, wanted, loved by you. to the bone, speak life to the soul, and I'm swept away.
Isn't it just like heaven when you walk into the room? There's not a thing that's hidden when every eye is on you. Can't get enough of your presence. It's the perfect point of view. Isn't it just like heaven? Doesn't it sound like heaven? Come on. When you're singing over me, there's not a voice more constant. Your melodies, they never cease. Here I will stand in your presence, in my true identity. Doesn't it sound like, yeah, it sounds like, just like heaven.
into forever. Jesus, I surrender. Show me what I don't know, more of you. I'm desperate for your presence, longing to be with you. Lead me to a new place, more of you. Come on, sing it out. Now until forever, Jesus, I surrender. Show me what I don't know, more of you. Desperate for your presence, longing to be with you.
Can't go back to the beginning. Can't control what tomorrow will bring. But I know here in the middle is a place where you promised to be. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? As I walk now through the valley, let your love rise above every fear, like the sun shaping the shadow. In my weakness, your glory appears. Yeah, come on. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Let's sing this out together. Not for a minute, not for a minute. Words I've forsaken. The Lord is in this place. Come on, the Lord is in this place. And come, Holy Spirit, the dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, troubles awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Whoa. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Whoa. Let's give him one more shout of praise this morning. Come on. Thank y'all so much for singing with us. You made me sing.
Good morning. It's good to see you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. Wow, it's cold out, isn't it? So, but I'm glad. It feels kind of nice in here. Of course, if you come in here, usually you're cold, so you feel normal. So, but lots of good things are happening. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. It was a great time to be with family, and you know, as we gather as we do every year. And I know you do the same thing, but it's good to also to get past that. Now we're fully in Christmas mode. Can you believe that? Well, it's only November 28th, but it's time. Thanksgiving's over. Our sights are on Christmas, then the year end, and then also we'll look forward to a new year and new things happening. But last week we talked about thankful thinking, and Pastor Troy did a great job in taking us there. I mean, the growth in our thought process of thankfulness. You know, there's just good manners. Then there's this ultimate thanksgiving that results in praise and also in worship. So thank you for helping us do that. You did a great job. Give him a hand, would you? He did a great job. But a lot of good things are happening at Suncoast as we begin to leave one season and head to another. One of the things I will remind you is that this weekend there's an oil change. You know, some of the things we do to give back in so many different ways. And those of you who like to give to so many different people, gift cards. If you want to say, how can I help someone, bring gift cards, either Publix or, you know, Walmart or Target or whatever, any of those gift cards, bring them to us and we'll give them to families as we decide the need basis there. So it helps us be more discerning and also kinder. One of the things we learned is that sometimes when we give families a lot of help, that sometimes it really becomes toxic. And I use this as an example, but there's a book called Toxic Charity. It's really an excellent read, that sometimes churches, not knowing, they come in, we want to adopt a family and do all the Christmas for them, and as all the gifts are coming in, and the kids are all excited, but the dad sort of slips off into the back room because all of a sudden he feels like his heart is broken because he's been unable to provide for his kids. We don't want to be part of Toxic Charity, but we do like to slip moms and dads and let them buy their own gifts for their kids because they know better than we do, and it's really a better way. So if you want to help in that way, some have brought thousands of dollars worth of gift cards. We give them all out. We make a difference in our community in so different ways. But thank you. I love being a part of Suncoast. You guys are amazing. So thanks for that. So we're launching a new series today called Christmas Chaos. Are you feeling it yet? You will. You will. Traditionally, in the church, we have Advent season. What is Advent? It really is 4 weeks before Christmas. Advent means coming. It also means arrival. You know, when a baby is born, they say the baby has arrived. And I've got lots of stories about babies being born, particularly with my grandchildren and all the things that happen. As a matter of fact, I have one granddaughter. Today is her birthday. She's 8 years old today. She was born on Thanksgiving. And I remember the day she was born, they missed Thanksgiving dinner because it would happen to be on Thursday, Thanksgiving. And we took a meal to mom and dad. They were appreciative. And now this year, 8 years later, we have a meal at their house and celebrate all the good things of life. So, but it means coming, arriving. And we're talking about Jesus at Christmas time. We celebrate the arrival of Jesus on the scene. And this season is traditionally one of preparation and celebration. You know, sometimes if you want to have a big party, you got to do a little prep. If you want to have and if you had a big party yesterday and you're a college football person, some of your lives are shattered, and some of you are rejoicing. For me, I'm a Florida State grad, and Florida won yesterday, and I won't talk about that except they're terrible, and they beat us. That's how it goes. So anyways, preparation and celebration. Each of these 4 weeks, we're going to look at the solution to questions of tension, stress, and chaos at Christmas. Today, I want to bring up this one word and talk about hope. We begin with this question. What do we do when our calendar creates chaos? I want to suggest there's a cure to this chaos. When my calendar, I used to have a little pocket calendar I carried all around, and I'd open it up just 1 year at a glance, and I'd write everything in there. I still have those because it's a collection of my life. Now I have this device, the phone that has a calendar, everything's in it. But what happens when all of a sudden I look down and I've double booked? You ever put 3 things on the same calendar? Accidentally. So when my calendar creates stress, it's usually because of my overcommitment, not my undercommitment. Now, here's the question I ask myself, see if you can relate. Why do I agree to things that create stress in my life? I mean, the holidays are a time when the calendar can be overloaded. What can I do to help with my scheduling? Well, there's my questions. What can I do to make sure the most important things get done and I don't miss the core value of the season? Well, today, I have to ask these questions. What's my priority? What's most important to me? Is if someone were to shadow me for a day, and I don't want that, and I'm not recommending it, but I would tell you, if I were to shadow you for a day, I could tell what's important in your life by the phone calls we make, by the calendars, the schedule we keep, and what's most important in your life. So today, I want us to look at a story found in the New Testament. It's the birth of Jesus. And let me tell you the story. First of all, Joseph and Mary were pledged to be married. And Mary tells Joseph that she's pregnant. Now, if I could take you back 2,000 years ago and take a young woman to her husband and say, hey, I'm pregnant, I'm going to have a child, and, it creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of problems in family units. It creates a lot of problems in this tribal society. And Joseph, it tells us, he's tempted to break off the betrothal because they're sort of like an engaged, but not even more than that. Then an angel appears to Joseph in a dream, according to the story, and says, take Mary as his wife. And then we find out as we read through these stories that there's a census, and Joseph is mandated to return to his hometown, which is Bethlehem, because he's the home and tribe of David. And he refuses to leave Mary behind. If the child's going to be born, he said it's going to be my responsibility. It's important to me to take care of Mary and this baby. So here's the question this Christmas season. What is my priority? What's your priority? What must you do? What do you do? If your calendar is crazy, how do we correct it? How do we make sure that we don't miss the celebration of Jesus? How do you throw that in there? I have family this, family that. There's all the different things, but there are traps this Christmas that can rob us of time and energy. And I want to give you the first one today. It's in your notes. You can fill in the blank for this first trap. And here it is. Beware of the good robbing the best. So let's look at the story in Luke. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him, to Jesus, and she asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work all by myself? Tell her to help me. Does that sound like sisters? I mean, I have these granddaughters, they're sisters, and I hear often, you're tattling. We don't want you to tattle on your sister, but tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are a tattletale. You are worried and upset about so many things, and nothing really pushes your button greater than Mary not helping you. That's not what it says, but that's what I read into it. So there are many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Now, this Christmas season, what that story is about distractions. I mean, have you ever been distracted? Of course you have. You were distracted when you walked in this room. You're walking someplace and someone stops you and says hi, or you're coming in and all of a sudden you see coffee. And the coffee becomes the distraction, or whatever. Then the coffee bar, all the different things in life that distracts us. Some people get up every day still, and they ask the question, I wonder what the COVID positivity rate is today in my area. And I know people that look up Sarasota Memorial Hospital COVID positivity rate on a regular basis, and it was below 1%. Just saying. How do you know that? Because I'm checking to make sure this person is right. And there's distractions. Are they going to wear a mask or not? I mean, we've just lived through 2 years of unprecedented history in our lives. Distractions. Are they vaccinated or not? Did they get their booster? How many vaccinations? Which one did you have? Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna. Which boost? What about the pill? What about all the different things? All these distractions. I want to go to a restaurant. Do I have to wear a mask? Yes, you do to walk in, but afterwards you can take your mask off. Do you want to eat inside or outside? It's safer outside. It's always safer when you're sitting down. That's what I understand. And it's safer to be on an airplane because you have to be 6 feet apart when you're in the terminal, but you get on the plane, it's safer. I don't understand these things, but I do know that there are distractions, inconveniences, extra expectations. I like my life to be the same. Someone said, how's it going? I said, about the same. That's good. Sometimes about the same is wonderful because some of you say it's not the same. It's not as good as it was. Found some information I didn't want to find out, and you know who I'm talking about today. Just happens to us. But there are things that are distractions. Things are time robbers. What are those things? Some things that really consume time. Parties. We're about to enter the season, not just Christmas, the season of parties. Shopping. I'm just curious. If you like to shop, raise your hand. Just curious. If you don't like to shop, raise your hand. Yeah, this is my church. I love it here. That's why Amazon is here. I love Amazon. I confess it. It's so much easier just to order it online and forget it. But there are distraction time robbers. There's parties, shopping, dinners, sentiments, their expectations at home, expectations of work. This is a season of gifts to buy, meals to cook, cookies to make, decorations, tree trimming. I'm just curious, how many of you already put your Christmas tree up? Raise your hand. How many of you are going to do it in the next week? How many of you are going to wait till the last week of Christmas? How many of you are not going to put it? Never, don't do that. Don't raise your hand. Because if you're not putting a tree up, there's some of us are envious. But we have it, tree trimming, family gatherings. It's not just parties and preparation, which takes a lot of my time. How about people? I want you to know, as a pastor, you people are time consumers. Right? You take up our time. And you know what the answer is? Well, if you don't like it, don't do the job. I've known pastors, I really love pastoring, I just don't like people. I like preaching, I just don't like people. You know me. I love what I do. And it's not what I do, it's who I am. It's very natural because I genuinely love people. And sometimes people take time and effort, but they're worth it. What happens when those whom we love become last in our priority? Let me talk to the type A people in the room just for a minute. Hard work, making a living is not a bad thing. But I'm convinced that too often we do what is good and sometimes we miss the best. Fair enough? And here, Pastor, how do you know that? I live it. Some of the things that Troy said last week, sometimes our best teaching is where we live, and this is where we live. Sometimes I go, that's not really what I want to do, but I have to do it. And how did I get in this situation? Why am I giving up the best? Because I've overcommitted for the good. Maybe we don't think about it. Maybe we don't know what's best. But the people we love, sometimes the most neglected. Sometimes I've seen the people that we love be treated the most harshly. I used to be in door-to-door sales. I don't brag about that. I'm complaining about it. In college, you have to have a job, and somebody convinces you ought to try selling things. And I sold a variety of things. One of the things I sold was Cutco cutlery. You ever seen that? Oh, it's the best knives in the world. I sold those things. I had to actually quit because I couldn't take the blood loss. I cut myself a couple of times. I mean, it's terrible when that happens. Once I got it here, once on the leg. And you go, well, really? So, no, I couldn't sell cutlery. But one of the things I find is that when I'd go to the door and knock on the door and give them some gifts, some stupid thing back, this is a long time ago, back when this was more acceptable than it is today. You go to the door, give them a gift. If they show you the presentation, they agree to it. And the person lets me in their house, and they don't even know who I am. And while I'm there, they treat their kids so harshly. They're just being kids. But out of respect for me, they abuse their kids. I learned some things about being a dad during that time. I didn't have kids. And I tell you, I say this honestly. Before Becky and I had kids, we were the perfect parents. Right? I mean, and then all of a sudden, but things changed. But I saw how people would treat their kids so harshly. And I go, why do we do that? The things that we love the most, that sometimes we're not as nice to them as we should be. This year, I want to make sure I don't sacrifice the best for the good, right? And part of the Christmas season is to understand the best thing that I can do is to be a warm, loving, kind person. And just because things aren't going my way, or my football team didn't win, or maybe, the traffic was terrible or something, difficulty happens. Let me tell you about a second trap. It's in your notes. Beware of expectations that do not align with our values. I love this story of Mary and Martha, because she says, Lord, don't you care that my sister's left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. You may not believe this, but I've had people in church come to me and say, would you tell my husband to do this? Would you tell my husband not act that way? I go, no. You tell him. If he doesn't listen to you, he's not going to listen to me. Yes, he will listen to you. Yeah, I know, but I'm not telling him. Why? Because I can't, he's not going to be corrected by something I say. But I think we should be aware of expectations that don't align with our values. And then we have to ask the question, what are our values? What are those things that define who we are, who I am? And the expectation of others should not be the determining factor of who I am. Now, I'm a pastor and have been. Next month, we'll celebrate 40 years pastoring. And I've heard it in 40 years. People say, I cannot believe you're a pastor. You know why? Because they know me. And they say, well, you were just yourself. I said, I do not let the expectation of others determine who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to be about. I laugh a lot. I kid around a lot. Sometimes I say things I shouldn't say. Sometimes I'm glad I said them. But I just can't fit all the different categories that everybody has for pastor. I can barely fit the category that's Larry Baucom. And sometimes, even that category, I don't do very well. But I'm trying to meet my own expectations of who I am at my best. See, when I discover those things that have greater value, when these things or those things, people receive my attention and love, when I value others, I often have less regrets and I have more internal confidence and peace. Folks, I've spent my life, 40 years of pastoring, but I've spent my life studying. I read books every week. I used to read a book every day or two. Now I'm down to about a book a week, slowing down. But I've spent my life reading and trying to be educated and understanding. And my highest goal is to follow the teachings of Jesus. Why? Because I think they're a game changer. They have been for me. And you say, well, what about that? Well, what I've learned in studying Jesus is that God is my source of value. Who is God? As I understand him, he's the source of life. He's the source of love and being. But I do know that he offers hope for more. What is hope? It's this confidence, looking into the future that I can trust God. When I look through the rearview mirror of my life, let's do this car analogy. Traffic is wonderful. Another car analogy. When I look through the rearview mirror of my life, I can see how my understanding of God has shaped my life. It's directed my path. It's really changed my heart. I can see that when I look in the past. When I look through the rearview mirror, I can see how my understanding of God has provided me with a resolve to be faithful, as God has always been faithful to me. Trust and hope are created when we see where we've been in the rearview mirror. But I don't know anybody that I want to be riding along with that they're looking in the rearview mirror as they're driving their car. You can't look in the rearview mirror your whole life. At some point, you need to look through the windshield. And as we look through the windshield, it's so much more comforting to see where we've been than to not know exactly where we're going. But as we look out the front windshield of our life, trust and hope enable us to look down the road with confidence. I discover these truths as I prioritize my values. The teachings of Jesus is the source of information that helps me understand God. So Suncoast has 3 values, and you may know what they are. But I want you to know they're also my values. They're not just community values, they're values that are important to me. They're personal values. They should be your values, I think, or at least I would suggest you consider them as a potential value for your life. The first one is this: we're a hospital, not a courtroom. We accept people just as they are. They're all God's kids. He loves them all, and we should too. Doesn't matter what color they are, what sexual persuasion they are. It doesn't matter. They're all God's kids. And if you just come in, I can fix you. No, I can't. I can't even fix myself. I mean, what I can do is love you and let you know together we are community. And I love the fact that in Christ there is neither male nor female, Jew nor Greek. There is neither, gay nor lesbian, nor any race. We're all the same. We're all God's kids. I've grown up with a huge problem with colors. I have a little more than an extreme red-green deficiency. What does that mean? I'm colorblind. What do you mean? I mean, I don't see red very well at all, maybe 1 or 2%, and I don't see green. Other than that, I love the Christmas colors. All right? And people challenge me now, what color is this? What color is this? I'm color smart, but I'm just not I don't see colors. I've grown up in an environment where I long that my heart stays colorblind. Some people I know, the color they see most is green. And sometimes they see green because they want more resource, more cash. And sometimes when they don't get it, they are green with envy that they want more. And that's a problem. But I do believe at Suncoast we're a hospital, not a courtroom. We're a hospital, not a courtroom. We accept people just as they are. We help people discover their value before God. And not only is that my community value, it's my value. Joseph discovered Mary was pregnant. He accepted her as she was, took her as his wife. Lots of complications in that story, as only you can imagine. But at least bareface, that's what happened. So we're a hospital, not a courtroom. What's the second value? We encourage people to take responsibility for their lives, personal responsibility. See, one of the things here we try to do is challenge, inspire people to take responsibility for their choices. I love it when people say, it's my fault, I messed up, because you know what happens? When you own it, then there's a possibility of you fixing it. When I drive terrible all the time, and I don't, unless you ride with me. But when I drive terrible all the time, all of a sudden, and it's someone else's fault, it's the people. It's these Florida drivers. Where do they come from? New York, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. Someone told me today, people in Georgia drive so much more kind. I said, I know. It's because they're from Georgia. Down here, they're from everywhere else. But we encourage people, if it's always someone else's responsibility, it's always someone else's fault, then I can never be changed, or I don't need to. We help people take responsibility for their choices. It's not someone else's fault. Guess what? I've been a pastor for 40 years. It's not God's fault I'm a pastor. It's not God's fault when I do some stupid stuff. When I accept my life, I own it. My choices determine my perspective about life. I want to make the best of it. So let's talk about my mother. Mom, if you're watching this today, and I hope you are, 95 years old, She's pretty good shape except for her eyesight. She has macular degeneration, kind of like your mom does. I mean, her eyesight's weak. And this week, my sister called and said, "You're not going to believe what happened." I said, "What happened?" Mom was out taking her dog for a walk, Mr. Pickles. It's a Chihuahua, a big Chihuahua. And she's taking Mr. Pickles. She lives on a condo. She's on the 3rd floor, kind of an open corridor condo. She goes down to the elevator, takes her dog down for a walk, walks her dog, comes back upstairs, and she looks out over the parking lot where her car's parked. And as she's looking out there, she puts her dog inside her condo before she does, and she's outside, and before she goes in, her dog got out. She opens the door and lets the dog back in and fusses at him a little bit, goes inside and sits down in her chair, recliner, puts on a TV preacher, Joyce Meyer is what I hear, and she sits back, and when the TV comes on, as she does when everyone preaches, she takes a nap. So by this time, she's already tuned out. Anyway, but she's taking a nap, and she wakes up to the dog barking. And Mr. Pickles is at her feet, barking at her. And she's blinking, thinking, my eyes are not good. She goes, I'm seeing things. Because Mr. Pickles is cuddled up right here in my lap. But Mr. Pickles is barking at my feet. When she woke up, she realized that she doesn't see very well. She took somebody else's dog in her house. And her dog is barking because this other dog is snuggling in her lap. There you go, Mom. My mother loves dogs. And when challenged by my sister to put a note out saying that, she found a dog, my mother said, "I'm not putting a note out. I like dogs. I like this dog." She said, if they want the dog, they need to put a note out saying they lost the dog. Now, here's the thing. She can't read the poster. You see how this is going? But finally, it's not her fault she took the lost dog into her condo. It's not her fault her vision's not good. It's not her fault someone else is irresponsible with their dog, who may become her dog. But when the poster was out, there was a poster put out the next day, she returned the lost dog. And even though she had to give up the dog, the good news is, at least she can drive. At Suncoast, we encourage people to take responsibility for their lives. Don't play the blame game. It never works. Which leads me to the last value. It says, everyone brings something to the table. Sorry, did that backward. Everyone brings something to the table. In our community, we understand everything has something to offer to help others. Everyone has something to offer to help others. Everyone, this gets personal. Maybe for you to bring something to the table, it really says you should give back in some way to society. And within the church community, you should give back some way in the church community. And if you don't do it here, maybe you need to do it in your neighborhood, but you need to give back in some way. Maybe it's volunteering, greeting, helping kids, working at the coffee bar. Maybe it's giving financially. I told you the story before, but a few years ago, this couple came to me and said, we're just not social. We don't really get along very well with people. We don't grieve very well. But what we do well is we make money. Can we give the church money? No. Okay. Only because everyone needs to give back. But when everyone gives a little, it becomes a lot. Maybe what you need to give, though, is not money. It's the gift of encouragement. Maybe the gift you give is bringing them to this place, or helping them get their oil changed, or maybe it's giving a smile or showing kindness. Everyone should bring something to the table. I should be bringing something good to someone in my world. In a world where COVID creates stress, in a world where the government is polarized, in a world where people are looking for the worst, how do I get through my chaos this Christmas? It begins by ordering my values. How do I create and embrace a plan that will correct my life's course? It begins with the word hope. Maybe it begins with a better understanding of God, that He loves me as I am. Maybe it continues as I follow the teachings of Christ and I begin to live a Christ-like life with Christ-like attitudes. But I tell you today what I would suggest. Don't let others define you. Choose to let your understanding of God create the way you treat people and the way you order your life. Which leads to one last thought today, that's this. Embrace a plan to simplify my life and schedule this season. Martha, Martha, you are worried about many things, but only one thing is needed. And that's to take a few minutes and think about where you are and what you want God to do in your life. See, the essence of hope this Christmas is seen when I keep my eyes open so I can discover all the gifts of Christmas. When I can keep my heart open and hear the whisper of God. You know, there's a word I'm trying to find in my life this Christmas season, and it's this word, simplify. Things could be simpler. It's only too possible to get so busy this Christmas season that I miss the more important things, and Christmas begins to be chaotic. I mean, simplify is not just what you do, it's what you don't do. Maybe that's where my plan determines the schedule. See, simplify is not just one more thing on the calendar. It may be the most important thing. How do I simplify? Can I suggest this? Begin your day with a simple time of meditation, prayer, and reflection. Start your day being aware of God's presence and listening. What is hope? Hope is like a spiritual meteorologist. It's forecasting a better future ahead. Chaos can become the norm when our life is centered. Can I pray for you? Father, thank you for your love and grace. Thank you for the way that you work in our lives in this Christmas season. And all the chaos, may we find a place of reflection in you. We pray in Christ's name. Amen. Would you stand, please? I want to tell you a story in closing. Last week, we had this wonderful family thing we do once in a while. We go to Orlando. We go to Universal Studios. You ever been to Universal Studios or Disney? We've done all those. But it's time, and they said, Dad, are you going to go? And I said, yes, I'm going to go. So it's a big thing when I go. They go without me a lot for obvious reasons. But I went to Universal Studios with our daughters, Stacy and Lauren Ricardo, and 5 of our grandchildren, Colin, 15, Peyton, 12, Brady, 10, Layton, 8 today, and London, 6. And on the way to the theme park, last week, school went through Friday, but we took the kids out of school one day early. So Thursday afternoon, we get all together in the van. We head for Orlando. It's going to be a great thing. It's about 3 o'clock. It takes us over 4 hours to get to Orlando, and that's taking a detour. That's taking a detour. That's also me going up and missing an exit for the detour. And my wife saying, don't do it. Don't do it. But you know that median between the two sides of the interstate? It's designed for just special people to once in a while cut through there. And as soon as I turned in that, a siren went off. It was about something else, but it scared me. But then we finally get to Orlando, and we get to the theme park, and the chaos. The chaos is not just the traffic, the chaos is when you get there. You know what my Becky says, my wife says about theme parks? She says, if you do not like crowds, lines, and waiting, then don't go. That's why I rarely go. But before I went to Orlando, I had a quiet time. And in my reflection, this is what the Lord seemed to whisper to me. Larry, life is short. Enjoy every day. Don't get so stressed. Go with the flow. Enjoy your life and your family. See, my theme park perspective also works for Christmas. It's not about the chaos. It's about the family. You are part of my family. You're part of his family. I'm here to remind you, he loves you today. And so do I. God bless. Thanks for coming.